All right, guys, welcome to your review of solving equations. So, again, this is a review of a review, but um, it can be good to go through all these different things. Again, equation is pretty much a fundamental skill to any kind of math going forward. And it's something that we kind of do just generally in our heads without knowing it all the time, is just solving equations. Okay. But to start off with, one thing to go over first is when we are trying to get things away from the variable. Our goal, again, is to always get the variable, the letter, all by itself, right? To move things away from the variable, we always use our opposite operation. So again, if we have addition, the opposite operation would be subtraction, and vice versa, right? If we have multiplication, our opposite operation would be division, right? And vice versa. So when you're going through and you see something dividing, to get it to go to the other side, remember you have to do the opposite operation. So if it was dividing, you would have to multiply. Okay. Now, when we're solving equations, there's 4 general steps that we go with. And if you can't do one of these steps, you just move on to the next one. And then if you can't do that one, you move on to the next one. If all you can do is the last step, which is just to solve a party problem, then that's all you do, right? So again, you first start out by basically getting rid of any parentheses you see. You want to get rid of them by distributing or dividing the number in front. Again, you want to have just the number in front of the parenthesis when you divide. Otherwise, it's you're gonna make a common error. Then you go into combining like terms. So any of the like terms that are on the same side of the equal sign, you can combine just by normal addition. And then you move the variable to one side if you have variables on both sides. And then the last step is to just solve the party problem. So like looking at this first example, there's nothing to distribute. There's no like terms. There's only one variable. So this is just going to be a party problem. It's a 1 or 2 step equation, right? So first thing I'm going to look at, again, when we think of the party problems, we think of who's at the party. There's no best friend next to the variable, right? There's an acquaintance, and then there's this guy in the basement, which we call the creeper. First one to leave the party would be the creeper guy, right? So we want to get rid of this guy, and it's got this little, it's on the bottom of a fraction, right? That means it's dividing. Opposite operation dividing is multiplying. So in order to cancel out that 21 on this side, I'd have to multiply. And since I multiplied on that side, I have to multiply on this side. So the 21s cancel out. I'm left with 7 plus p is equal to 21. And then I have to get rid of the acquaintance. He's positive, so to move him to the other side, I would subtract. So you'd minus 7, and p would equal 14. And that'd be your answer. That's all you have to do. It's a 2-step equation, right? Multiply, subtract, you're done. Okay, looking at this next example, there's nothing to distribute, but there does appear to be like terms, right? I have 2 different x's on the same side of the equal sign. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to combine those x's. So I'm going to get 3x, and then I still have that minus 2 equals negative 2. Right? Now it's a party problem, right? So the last step here is to solve the party problem. This time I've got a best friend and an acquaintance. So acquaintance leaves first. He's negative, so to move him, I would have to add 3x is equal to 0. Now this is where a lot of people stop and say like not possible or anything like that, but 0 is a number, right? Things can equal 0. So if I'm going to take this 3 and get rid of it, it's multiplying, right? So I'd have to divide. If I have nothing and I divide nothing 3 times, what do I have? I still got nothing. So x is going to equal 0. And that would be my answer. Okay? Not too bad still, right? Let's look at this next one. So this time, looks like I've got some like terms on this side. And then I've also got variables on both sides. So I'm going to combine like terms first. So I've got a 3k and a k. I'm going to combine those. It's going to become 4k plus 4 equals negative 4 plus 5k. Okay. Then I'm going to move the variable to one side. Now, it doesn't matter which variable I move. I can move the 5k or I can move the 4k. Doesn't matter which one. And this is also where a lot of students make a common mistake, is they want to try to divide this number in front of the variable. But you only do that if you're trying to separate the number from the variable. If we want to move the entire term, it's just like any number. I would add it or subtract it to each side. So if I wanted to move this 4k over the other side, since it is positive, I would subtract it. So I'd minus 4k to each side. 4k minus 4k is 0, goes away. I'm left with 4 equals negative 4 plus k. Okay, and then the last step would be to just add 4 to each side to get the k by itself. And that would be my answer. And k would equal 8. Not too bad, right? Okay, and the last one, we've got a parentheses, right? So I've got to get rid of it. So I have two options. I can distribute right away and get rid of that negative 5 in the parentheses. Or if I wanted to do the division way, which I guess I'll do just to show you guys that it's possible, I need to get that negative 5 to be the only thing outside of the parentheses. So to do that, I'd have to add the 1 to each side. So I would add 1 to each side, which gives me negative 5 times 1 minus 6x is equal to 235. Now, that negative 5 is the only thing outside the parenthesis. So I can go ahead and divide both sides by negative 5 and just get rid of it without having to distribute. So I do 235 divided by negative 5, and I would get negative 47. So negative 47 is going to equal 1 minus 6x. And the parentheses is gone at that point because, again, the 5 isn't multiplying with it anymore. So then it's just a party problem. So I've got an acquaintance and a best friend. I'm going to get rid of the acquaintance first. It's a positive one, so I'd have to subtract it, which gives me negative 6x equal to negative 48. And then the last step would be to divide by the best friend. And I'm going to get x equal to a positive 8. And that would be my answer. And again, if I distributed the negative 5 at the first, I'd end up with the same answer in the end. Just be a little bit different process. I'd have to distribute, combine like terms, and then solve the party problem. But I'd still end up with the same thing. All right. So again, those are your steps. And if you have any questions, again, reach out to your teachers. We're here to help. And hasta pasta, guys.